Hey, what's up guys, it's Fallen here. Today we're going to go over our Shadowlands 9.0 Fury Warrior Guide. In this guide we're going to go over the basics of the class, our strengths, our weaknesses, main rotation, talents, conduits, and covenants. Warrior here. So we are Fury, we are builder spender, so we're going to build rage to dump rage to do more damage. We want to be enraged, and rage increases our damage done, and it comes straight from our mastery, which is damage done while enraged increased by your mastery percentage. There's two basic ways to get into enraged. You can get a critical strike from your bloodthirst, will enrage you, and rampage will, once you click rampage, you will be enraged. Once we're enraged, we will do our mastery amount, which is for me 30. So we'll do 30% more damage while we're enraged. So we want to be enraged as much as we can. So let's start off by, let's look at our talents to begin with. So these are our basic talents for rating. So on the tier 15, we're going to go sudden death. Chance to proc condemn, because we're Venthyr. It would be execute if you weren't Venthyr. We're going to go double time for the extra charge. We'll go massacre, so we can execute at 35% instead of 20%. And the cooldown's reduced by 1.5 seconds. So we have a 3.8 second cooldown. Next, we're going to go war paint. We want the passive 10% damage reduction. Then we're going to go cruelty. So while we're enraged, we're going to raging blow will deal 20% more damage and has a 30% chance to reset its own cooldown. We're going to go dragon's roar for pure single target. And then we're going to go anger management, because we're going to be spending so much rage, we'll be able to get our recklessness back faster, so that way we can continue to just dump more and more rage. There is an argument for Siegebreaker until you have a high enough haste, or until you have the right legendary, you can go Siegebreaker. It might sim a little higher for you. For dungeons, we're gonna go Stormbolt, and we'll go Bladestorm. Stormbolt because we want the stun, the utility in dungeons, and then Bladestorm because Dragon's Roar has reduced damage on the more targets it hits. And Bladestorm is only capped at 8 instead of us normally being capped at 5. And it just does big damage. So next we're going to go into our legendaries. Fury has two main legendaries you can use for your patchwork, your pure single target. You're going to always want to run Deathmaker. Rampage has 30% chance to apply Siegebreaker to your target for 6 seconds, and you do not have to be talented into it, it just gives it to you. It's a nice passive proc. It loses some effectiveness on sustained AoE because you don't know which target is going to proc on, but overall it is still increased damage because you're going to be constantly cleaving all of your targets. The next one you can run is Signet of the Torrent Kings. Activating Bladestorm, Recklessness, or Avatar randomly casts the other one. This is best in slot for arms for all scenarios, because arms does not care about randomness as much as Fury wants to stay constantly enraged. We have a fairly tight rotation that we're going to stick to, or a priority list we're going to stick to. Deathmaker, you're going to want to craft it on your legs. You'll be able to get those to a higher item level, and they will have higher strength on them than the other option. When it comes to stat weights, the easy way to think about it is item level is king. Your main stat for us is strength is worth so much more compared to any other stat. So if we just look at my stat weights right now, we'll go Fury for patchwork. Strength is worth 2.9, so 1 point of strength is worth 2.9 DPS, when my next highest secondary is going to be haste at 1.7. So it's 1.5 times, almost 2 times more powerful just for main stat. Your basic stat weights for Fury are going to be weapon DPS for main hand. So you just want your highest item level weapon. You do not care about anything else on your main hand. The next one is going to be offhand weapon DPS. So just the whatever weapon you get next needs to be in your offhand. Then it's going to be strength, and then it's going to be haste mastery, crit verse. Now this is going to change depending on who you are. If you sim your own character, everything changes. But for mine, it is strength, haste mastery, and then crit verse. Haste is still by far the best secondary for me, and then mastery is just a little bit above crit, which is a little bit above verse. And then if we go into dungeons, again, it's going to be weapon DPS, then offhand weapon DPS. Then I have strength, haste, mastery is about equal to crit, and then verse right under crit. So the weights do change a little bit. The crit gets a little bit closer to mastery, but haste is still best for me for my best secondary, but strength is still your number one. So item level first, worry about your secondaries once you have 2 equal item level pieces or item levels that are very close, like maybe 3 or 5 points off. Then you can start mainly looking at secondary stats. But always sim yourself. There's no cookie cutter, which one is going to be better, which one's going to be worse. Next, we're going. Next, we'll look at your covenant. We are Venthyr. So execute is now condemned. You can use it on 100 to 80%, and then you can use it because of talented 35 to 0. Our soulbind you're gonna want to use is Nagia. Follow this path, you'll be able to get double potency. The 2 potency we are running is going to be recklessness lasts 26% longer. So recklessness for me lasts for 13 seconds. And then we're going to run Ashen Juggernaut. Condemn increases critical strike chance of condemn by 1.8%, stacking up to 8 times, and the buff lasts for 8 seconds. Your Finesse Conduit, you're always going to run Inspiring Presence, Rallying Cry, extra health by 30%, and extra duration by 30%. It's huge. And then your Endurance is always going to be the Stalwart Guardian. For Fury, it's cooldown of Enrage Regeneration decreased by 30 seconds. For Arms, it's going to be Die by the Sword. And for Prot, I think it's Shield Wall. So then our basic rotation, right? We are builder spender. We want to build rage. We want to spend rage. We want to be enraged, right? So we don't have recklessness yet, but basically you're going to charge, you'll condemn, or you'll recklessness and condemn. And what you're going to do is you're just going to build up until you get rampage. We're going to use rampage. It's going to get us enraged, and then we're going to build back up. When you are enraged, Raging Blow has higher priority over Bloodthirst because we have the talent that Raging Blow does more damage while you are enraged. When you are not enraged, Bloodthirst has priority over Raging Blow because it can enrage you. You do not want to cap rage ever. You always want to dump your rage into rampage. See right here, if we cap, right, we're just wasting resources. So you're always going to want to dump, and then you're going to condemn. Condemn if you can, right? Condemn is the highest priority when it's available. Condemn, then rampage to get enraged. While enraged, it's Raging Blow. When not enraged, Bloodthirst becomes better than Raging Blow. You want to use your recklessness pretty much on cooldown. We are running anger management. Instead of a minute and a half with the rage we spend, it's going to be close to about a minute cooldown for rampage, or for recklessness. So a basic opener, first make sure you buff yourself with Battle Shout. Your basic opener is going to look like this. We're going to charge, condemn, recklessness, rampage, raging blow, condemn, rampage, raging blow, condemn, rampage, raging blow, condemn, rampage, raging blow, condemn, rampage, will bloodthirst, condemn, raging blow, rampage. And this is about what you'll follow through until you get to about 80% health. You'll also be taking Dragon Roar for pure single target. Dragon Roar crits, so we don't want to use it inside of recklessness. You want to use it while enraged. Don't use it when you're not enraged. but use it not inside of recklessness as well. So now let's say you're below 80% health, right? So we're gonna rampage, get enraged, raging blow, bloodthirst, and if you don't have enough rage, you will whirlwind for your filler. So you are global cooldown locked. There is always a button for you to press. And then that is your basic single target rotation. Now let's go over here and we will do our AoE rotation. So as Fury, you get Whirlwind generates rage for you. It generates 3 rage plus 1 rage per additional target hit. But it's going to give you meat cleaver stacks, causing your next 2 single target melee attacks to strike up to 4 additional targets, but for a reduced amount of damage. So we are target capped at 5 targets for our normal rotation. So what you'll do, AoE, keeping up your meat cleaver stack is now your highest priority. So we'll charge, we will whirlwind, then we're gonna condemn, raging blow, or condemn, rampage, whirlwind, raging blow, and then if you can condemn again. If not, you can bloodthirst. You'll need to refresh your meat cleaver, so you'll whirlwind again. You should have a rampage, and then you'll continue through that. The way Bladestorm is going to work into AoE scenarios is you want to use Bladestorm when all of the targets are between 80 and 35% health. You can't condemn them, so you want to go in with 2 stacks of meat cleaver. You want to rampage. You'll be enraged. Then you'll Bladestorm while enraged. Bladestorm generates rage, and you should be able to rampage again afterwards because you'll still have 1 stack of meat cleaver left. If they fall below 35% health, you can come out of the Bladestorm with a condemn. So we'll charge, whirlwind, condemn. You want a bloodthirst, whirlwind, raging blow, condemn, whirlwind, raging blow, condemn, whirlwind, rampage, condemn, whirlwind, bloodthirst, rampage, condemn, everything. We're just going to keep doing it, but every other move you want it to be whirlwind so you can continue to hit all 5 targets. Now let's say everything is below 80% health. We're going to whirlwind, we'll rampage, then we'll Bladestorm. Then you can come out and do a condemn, whirlwind, rampage, condemn. And that is our basic priority while doing AoE, is we want to keep our meat cleaver stacks, right? You don't want to, if you have 1 meat cleaver stack, you don't want to whirlwind over it again if you can avoid it. But let's say you have bloodthirst, raging blow, they're all on cooldown, you don't have enough rage, you can whirlwind again. You're still doing AoE damage, and you're just resetting yourself up with 2 stacks for when everything comes off cooldown. You'll be able to dump 2 huge abilities in, whirlwind, and then you should be back up to a rampage. And as you can see, you'll get some Siegebreaker procs when using Deathmaker on AoE, and it's not necessarily going to be your main target. So one of your off targets, like this one back here that I'm only doing 45% damage to, is the one that's getting the Siegebreaker buff. But you'll be constantly switching targets already anyways, trying to get to which ones you can condemn. Condemn still has priority. So let's say this one drops below 80, but this one's still at 82. You'll tab over, and that way you can get a big condemn on it. That is your basic rotation for AoE. And we ended that about 8.7k DPS, 5 targets sustained. Granted, we could condemn the whole time, but if we're doing a dungeon, we should be able to tap to other targets to be able to condemn constantly, and then fill in with Bladestorms and use a recklessness during a pull. We didn't recklessness there. Alright guys, so that's our basic Fury Warrior right there. We're not the strongest single target, but when it comes to dungeons and sustained cleave, we do absolutely ridiculous amounts of just sustained AoE damage on 5 targets. We've got big bursts for AoE with Blade Storm. So overall, that's just going to be how our warrior plays. We're not the best in single target for raids, but for when it comes to cleave, we're going to be doing great damage. 2 targets, cleave, such as like Huntsman, Arms is still probably going to beat us out there just because they have better 2 target cleave, but we have better 3, 4, 5 target cleave than Arms does. But it's just so much fun to play Fury. I prefer it over Arms, and since I sim almost equal single target and AoE for them, I prefer to play Fury. Any weak auras that you want, I'm gonna try and link them below the stream for you. And then if y'all have any questions, you can catch me on Twitch all the time at twitch.tv/FallenPrince. The link will be below as well. Hope y'all enjoy going out and playing some Warrior. Let me know how it goes, guys. Y'all have a great day.